Do you want me to call the roll for you?
I got it.
Okay.
Mark Blevins,
Here.
Nancy Brown,
Here.
Mark Tester,
Here.
Gary Fowler. I believe Jared's here. I'm here. Gary Bailey's here. Sonja Keller.
Present.
Kelly Collins.
Here.
Everyone's present. Did everyone receive the agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Or is there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No. Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor of approving the agenda? Any opposed? None. We'll move on to the approval of the January minutes. I attached those to the agenda. Did anyone have the opportunity to look at them? I know I was very tardy with tonight's agenda.
No, that's fine. Motion to approve, Mark Blevins.
Second, Prophet.
All in favor of approving January's minutes? Any opposed? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comments. Is there any public on the line that would like to speak in the Education Committee? Okay, with hearing none, we'll go ahead and I'll turn the floor over to you, Mr. McLean.
I'll be honest, I don't have a whole lot other than just some updates of kind of where we're headed and where we've been. We started talking about we were going to start 4 days a week, full-time, 100% this week. The second vaccination for a lot of faculty and staff kind of slowed that up. So Wednesday should be our first full day back in school, 100%, which is great to hear. We all know that that's where we want to be.
I know a lot of people are excited about that.
Absolutely. And we are too. It's been a long time coming.
It's hard to stay home all the time. I know.
Absolutely. I will add, that lately we've been kind of busy. We have what's called the CLP. There's a lot of acronyms, but that's our continuous learning plan. We have been asked to kind of look that over, make any changes, corrections, and we have to have that turned into the state. I believe the second week in February, we've been working on that quite a bit lately. And to be honest, as well as starting planning for next year, it's February. We're looking at 100% for the rest of this year. We're also looking at some summer school options. And I'll be honest, I don't have a lot of information on the summer school. The state is looking at possibly looking at funding some of that. I have not heard at what level, but we are having conversations around having summer school this summer. And we all know that's well needed. That's really all I have, unless anybody has any questions.
Absolutely. And I even know some kids that probably be happy to go to summer school just to get back in the swing of things. I know I'm dying to get back into a routine.
And to be truthful, kids and parents, I think would like to have.
Oh, yeah.
Some summer
I know
school.
my son is very excited to go back to school at least 4 days a week.
And to be truthful, the summer school, it can give us some ways of trying to close some gaps that we've had with students basically since last March.
Some of them have been hard to keep a hold of, I know.
We're coming.
Does anyone else have any questions for Mr. McLean?
Chairman Ward, I do. Danny, how are we assessing the seniors and the juniors on the ACT test? How's that working out?
Well, honestly, it's happening. There are different ways. There are 2 or 3 or 4 different dates, and I have not spoken to the people that are giving the ACT within the last 2 or 3 weeks, but I know there are several dates out there that they can take the exam. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just curious if any of them, I know, the juniors and the seniors start taking it early in the school year. How are we doing on what we're seeing on the, how's the performance?
We haven't gotten any of those scores that I've seen yet, Mayor Woodby.
Okay. I was just curious. I know I've had some concern from some parents that some of the kids are not scoring well at all.
Absolutely.
ACTs.
And again, you know, the goal would be some sort of summer school, not
Yeah.
just for K-8, you know, some sort of possibly
First
ACT
year.
courses during this summer to try to have students catch back up.
Okay. That's good to know. I hope we can communicate that out to the community once you guys get the funding and can get that up and running. And then whatever you need me to do on that, let me know. The ACT is very important. And I know a lot of colleges depend on that. And I don't know if they're waiving any of that or if they're going to be a little lax on that. I'm not
I
sure.
think you know, we have had some people talk about some of the colleges are going to waive it. But with that being said, you and I both know the ACT may be the single most important exam that a student takes.
Oh, I know. That's why I have a concern about it. I know
Absolutely.
it's tough for kids who get a full school year in, much less what they've got in the past year and a half.
And not only
So-
that, you know, there are programs that has to have a minimum ACT score to even get into.
I agree. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Um,
Yes, sir.
I've got just one question. I didn't know nothing about them starting a school back up at 100%. And we're up in Merlin and we're snowed in and my kid won't be able to get back at 100% until Monday. What kind of problem is that gonna cause?
Mr. Blevins, we still have remote options. We will still have that available for students. Those that parents may not feel safe or may not feel comfortable, we will still have the remote learning options for those students.
Okay, well, they're going back Monday for sure.
Mr. McLean,
Yes,
do you have any idea how many kids are still going to do the remote learning?
I'll be honest with you. That number it's kind of a moving target. Right now, we are looking around 700 or 800 students that are doing the remote online program. Now, when we're back in the building 100%, I'll be honest, I have had several make a phone call and say, we want to come back to school, which is exactly what we want to happen. But I will also add, we have had a few phone calls with some concerns about students going back 100%. So we may be offering some remote options but now that's very few. Those phone calls are very few. We've had more phone calls, students wanted to come back when we're back at 100%.
I think the kids are ready to come back. 98% of them. I really do.
I agree with you 100,000%.
If I can, I covered this with Mr. McLean a few weeks ago. I would like some help from you all. We still have 150 some hotspot boxes. If we've got kids that's out there and does not have internet, please let them get a hold of our department. We're still pushing around 150. It's about 60 some Sprint and about 60 some T-Mobile and Verizon. So Danny might touch on that a little bit, but guys, if they don't have the internet, we are paying for it. So tell these kids with what's.
I will add to that. Not only do we have those available, there is also another grant between T-Mobile and the state of Tennessee that will provide us upwards of 200 to 300 more. But I will add, the issue with those hotspots is this: if you do not have cell service, those hotspots don't work. Of course, we're all aware of that. So there are places that they just simply won't work.
But just so you know, if you do know somebody, let them get a hold of us. I mean, it's paid for. If they don't have internet, we've got the boxes at our building. We're ready to give them out.
Absolutely.
So, the schools is trying to get them out there to the kids. It's just, I just don't think some of them want them.
Are there any other questions for Mr. McLean? Does anyone have any new business for the Education Committee to research next month? Okay, that brings us to the end of the education agenda. Commissioner comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor of adjourning the Education Committee, please say aye.
Uh,
Okay, Gary, it's all yours.
All right, I'd like to make an adjustment to the agenda. I messed up and sent that out. It says December's minutes, but I need that to be recognized as January's minutes. Other than that, I guess we'll call to order. And I guess we'll use the same roll call. Do we need to vote on that again, or I guess everybody's still here? So I guess I'll act approval of the agenda.
I'll
Motion
make a
to
motion.
approve.
Okay, I hear a motion made by Miss Brown. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, Kelly Collins a second. All right. Do we have any public comments? Well, wait a minute. Let's vote on. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Uh,
All right. We have any public on here or anybody that'd like?
What about excuse me, Mr. Gary?
Yeah.
What about the improvement of the agenda? You just approved the minutes. What about the agenda?
Oh, that's what I thought. Sorry, you're right. That's what I was asking earlier. To make the adjustment in the agenda, so then let's prove it.
I thought Nancy Brown had made the motion to approve the agenda and I seconded it.
Yeah, that's what I was going with right there.
Did.
I thought he said the minutes. I'm sorry. Excuse
Okay.
me.
My fault too. I got confused there trying to brush through. All right. So do we have any public on here for public comments? All right, hearing none. Under the old business, we got a building update. Mr. Benny, you on here?
Yes, sir.
All right, you on it?
Approved the agenda, but they never approved the
Gary, how about you or Mr. Tester starting first with the bid process, and then we'll go from there.
All right. Basically, we sent out the building to be bid, and we had one person, that one company that bid on it, and it was almost $80,000. And I think Benny's only got 47 something. So we have went back and I've talked to Mr. Burke and finance department and the way they want to do this. I think Benny's can get by with just a building instead of a full building with insulation and everything. Let's just try to build a shed. In other words, do the post and put a roof on it that gets him through, because we're heading into summer. He just needs somewhere to store these baled cardboard bales to keep them from getting wet and out of the mud. So, and then we'll try to come back and relook at boxing it in later, because anything over $50,000 we have to send out to an architect. So like I said, we only had one company bid on it. It's come in around $80,000 and he's only got 47. So, and then you'd have to pay architect fees. So I have talked to Benny. He is in the process of getting us 3 bids. If he gets us 3 bids, we're going to try to just put a roof on and keep it under the $25,000 mark. So any questions on that?
Gary,
Yes, ma'am.
will you have to get the architect once you put the walls in?
My understanding is we don't have to have an architect unless we're over the $50,000 mark. We
I
met
mean
with,
after when you do start to put the walls in, will that just like be a separate?
well, I've asked Brad that, and my understanding is no, because it's actually going to be 2 different jobs, as long as we keep it under the timeline and how he's breaking this up, because he can't just come back within 3 months and build it in. But it's like he said, if we get this in March, you'd have April, May, June, July, August, probably September, 6 or 7 months later. And we met with the city planner down there and the fire marshal and all of them, and they're all in agreements of how to put this in and stay within code. So we're just trying to do something to get him a shed. There's cardboard running out the doors in that place.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I really have to take my hat off to him. Benny's doing all he can to keep this going. It's
Okay,
just
that sounds good. That sounds good. I just wasn't sure if you had to go back and get an architect. So that maybe will save some money.
Mr.
Benny,
Bailey,
you want to touch on that?
Mr. Bailey,
Yes, sir.
I believe the key to it is that Benny is going to quote a
Right.
pre-engineered building.
I think that's the key to it, that you bid or you quote, not bid, you quote a pre-engineered building, and then that, I believe, covers us. I may be incorrect on that, but
That's the way Brad told us to do it when this come back. He said basically it'll still be a building, it's just not gonna have any sides or walls. We've actually had a company that has told us roughly what it would cost, and we can find it online. It's just, in short, I just don't think they want to sign their name to it because I'm not sure if they got some back and pass a drug test. I mean, there's no reason to lie about it. I think that's where we're at. It's that stipulation of that county. So if we can get 3 quotes and keep it in just to get him a shed, I think Benny can box it in with what he wants to do it and save some money in the long run anyway. So if you all, approve of that, just as an update of what's going, but we've got to do something for him. Benny, you got anything to add to that?
Do you need a motion for him to go ahead and start?
Well, Brad's told us he's got the money. We moved it last month. Brad told me to tell him the other day to get him 3 quotes.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing. I've actually started calling around getting quotes for material, as well as somebody to put this thing up. I had a guy in Gate City give me a quote to put it up if we got the material at $2.50 a square foot. That comes up $12,000 to have it built. So,
Benny,
yes, sir.
are you going to have the square footage that you're going to need, or are you sure you're going to have enough for that building?
Well, here's what I'm looking at, Mr. Prophet. We've got this building here we can build, and then I've got that red steel building. If we start growing tremendously, then we will figure out a way to use the skeleton of it to add more square footage.
Great. I'm sure you'll need extra space.
Guys, I'll be honest with you. I was down there the other day twice looking at this. He ain't got no room. I mean, cardboard's coming in faster than the one thing we've done right. Get him a baler is the one thing that I'll have to really sit and say I appreciate you all, because I don't know where he's putting all this cardboard, but it just ain't gonna hold no more.
And once we get this baler in, that will alleviate a lot of the freestanding cardboard. And then what we'll end up doing is having bales stored.
But Benny, am I right? That's why we're asking to put this roof over this, just to keep them dry, because you get a lot more on dry, clean cardboard than you do that muddy, dirty stuff.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else on the building update?
I'm waiting on quotes for the material now. I think I've got a pretty good quote, 2 quotes actually for the installation. So if I can get quotes on the material, we should be good to go. So I've got calls put in to folks, just waiting on them, I guess, to put their numbers together.
Okay. Any of you all, anything to say or what you want to think? Or, I mean, Benny, I appreciate it, honestly. You're doing great.
Well, listen, I appreciate you all for helping me. I mean, it's a slow process with getting this baler took care of, but once it gets in, I think it'll be a big stress relief for me and everybody that works around what we're doing down there.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the baler then. Benny, you got an update on it?
I have. We bid it out. We got 2 bids back. One is for a Harris Wolverine, and one is for a Marathon Apollo. The Apollo was, let me give you accurate numbers here. Hang on just a second. Let's see here. The total on the Apollo was $348,470.06, not including the pit that we have to pour for the conveyor to set in. Okay. So that was on the Apollo. The next one was on the Wolverine, and it was $378,532, not including the pit.
Okay, and we approved, I think, the commission approved you 402,000 and something?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well,
I tell you, I've not made up my mind yet. I want to save the county money, but I want to make sure that we're where we need to be. That being said, you know, one of them bales 6 to 24 tons an hour, one of them bales 6 to 22 tons an hour. So we're within that margin. Talked to Brad today, and he told me that I could negotiate with these people. So I think I'm going to think on it tonight and call one of them in the morning, or call both of them in the morning, and see where we're going at that, and I will have it ordered by tomorrow.
okay, when you decide that, would you let me know so I can send it out to everybody?
Yes, sir. Unless you guys want to look at it and make a decision your all self, I'm open to that. I just that's a lot of money to spend, and I don't want to waste nothing, and I want to try to save us money too.
Well, here's my thought on it. That is roughly 48, 58, 68, $30,000 difference. If you, and I'm just one of 24 here, so I have no problem for you taking the upper one if you think that's the better one to make you make more and get this through, because I don't want to keep going through this. If this makes that big of a difference, and this is what you need and what's there, and everybody's agreeing, then I have no problem supporting the more expensive one.
I just actually got to look at the Apollo Thursday. I had to drive to Louisville, Kentucky to look at it, and I actually got to see it work. So I'm gonna punch some numbers tonight myself as far as hydraulics, and just basically go that route and try to go with whatever my feelings tells me to. I'm torn right now.
Mr.
Benny,
Benny,
are you
Hey, Mr. Prophet?
just a question, Benny, are you looking at the warranties on these machines?
Yes, sir. And here is one of the warranties on them. The more expensive one had a better warranty. Actually, it was a 5-year, 10,000 hour warranty, and they also had a 2-year PM, preventive maintenance, where they come out 4 times within those 2 years to do maintenance on it. That was actually in their bid.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tester, did you have a question? Okay, I guess not. Anybody else? Anything on this?
yes, Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
Benny, have we looked at the service and the availability of parts and stuff like that on each one of these units? I mean, I was, make sure we was going to get something that, we'd be able to get good service, from maintenance people and stuff like that. I didn't know if you'd had any experience with either one of these companies.
I haven't had experience with them. I've talked to some different solid waste directors that's had experience with both of them. And from where we sit right here in Carter County, each one of them is around 2 hours away from us. They both have service people. So service would probably be same day or next day if we was to have to call them. They both do have parts available at their locations within 2 hours from us.
Thank you, Benny.
Yes, sir.
One other thing I want to cover is we've asked Benny to give us a report every month Well, today being the first day of the month and yesterday where it was Sunday, the last of the month, he didn't get the report in until real late. I'll try to send that out to everybody as soon as I get it right here. He told me earlier, just like an hour ago, that he actually had some numbers. So what'd you say we turned this much, Benny? But I will go on and email it to everybody.
This month is $95,176.31 through the landfill, through the basically through the scale house there.
All right.
And then on our recycling, we sent out 114 tons this month in recycling.
Okay. And I guess the prices are holding the same around the cardboard?
It's $75 a ton now.
Okay, sounds good. Anybody else got anything? Any new business? Director's report.
I really don't have much for the director's report. We've had some people sick again. And we have posted that the new price, we posted that today, that the new price will be in effect March 1st. So we've sent that out in our building and we've posted at the landfill. So just
All
let
right.
them know that's been took care of.
Commissioner comments.
Benny, I meant to ask you earlier about, I saw where the governor has been talking to Eastman about recycling plastics and setting a new, I'm not sure exactly what the plan is there. Will we be able to get in on that anyway? I get a lot of people calling in the city about recycling plastic.
Well,
I didn't know the
details in on it right now. You there, Ms. Collins?
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last part.
We are kind of in on it right now. I've been working with Eastman for the last 6-7 months on plastic for their pilot program. So we are kind of involved already.
I just wondered, because like I said, I get a lot of calls from the city residents about the plastics, and a lot of them are taking it to Johnson City, and I know we can't really do a whole lot here, but I hope sometime we can start.
Well,
that.
I think this is going to work out good for us, being that Carter County was on the front end of their pilot program. So we're going to be hopefully a supplier to them. Once they get up and running, they've been taking a few bales every month to try of our material, and they seem to like it. So I think it's going to work out well for us.
But everything is basing on getting that cardboard out there to freeing you up a little bit, ain't it? If I'm correct, Benny, is that right?
Yeah, because right now we're not processing nothing but cardboard.
Anybody else? Commissioner comments? All right. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
We have a second?
Second.
Hi.
All right, leave me.